positivity or looking for encouragement. Temia Brinson aims to educate you, to give you the push to believe, to have the mindset for success. Mindset for success. To have the mindset for success. To have the mindset for success.
Welcome to the Mindset for Success show. I'm Temia Brinson, your host, and today our guest is Mr. Russell Drake. All right. He is a community advocate and public speaker, and he's also the CEO and founder of Build Black Daily. All right, welcome back, Russell.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for all the wonderful work that the Mindset for Success show continues to do. Love what you do, your Black media. We need more shows like this to spread awareness and keep relevant issues in the forefront.
All right. So let's get into it. This is Black History Month, and of course, we're doing our legal review as well. And but let's start off because they have the George Floyd death.
Yeah.
So we're pursuing, Minneapolis is pursuing the 3 former officers that were with Derek Chauvin, right?
As they should.
Or Chauvin, whatever his name is. And it was stopped, it was going on last week. But it was stopped because one of them has coronavirus. And so they're going to start again on Monday. But they were accused of depriving George Floyd of his rights when they failed to give him medical aid, right? As Officer Derek Chauvin knelt on George Floyd's neck for 9.5 minutes while he was handcuffed, face down, and gasping for air. So the other 2 of them tried this coming Monday. They're also accused of failing to intervene in that tragedy, in that killing that triggered, protests and everything. And so it's those 2. And then Lane, he's also is going to be on trial. And I don't think he has the same charges.
Yeah, I think they're what are they? They were for being an accessory to the murder, right?
Oh.
Just being like accessories to it. And it's very necessary that they're disciplined in the same fashion and found guilty. It's astounding that they don't plead guilty, seeing what has happened already. It's glaring. It's just glaring, and I think they need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. To this point, I've not heard any remorse from them or anybody just come out and say, you know what, we admit we were in the wrong, even though the whole world has seen evidence of such.
Now, what do you think about the one that kind of sort of spoke up? And he said, well, do you think we should get him some medical aid or, call the EMT? What do you think about him? Do you think he should be severely punished? And then I got another question about the the one that just started. But for the first one who spoke up, what do you think about him? Do you think he should get as equal of a sentence or conviction?
Yeah. Yes, I do. If you didn't stop it and you're wearing that badge, then you're at fault. You did not stop it. You were there. It wasn't like it was 30 seconds and then finally, all right, we break it up. It's still wrong, the whole thing. But at some point, at the second minute, you did nothing. The third minute, the fourth minute, the fifth minute, he lost consciousness already before 4 minutes, mind you. The sixth minute, the seventh minute, the eighth minute, 9 minutes. All right, y'all, let's just get up and go and just leave. Like nonchalantly. Let's not even give him any attention. Mind you, we're here to serve and protect, and we train to provide medical attention if needed. We'll just get up and roll off. So, yeah, saying that was not enough.
Okay. I mean,
You say what?
All right. Well, I slightly disagree just a little bit because I kind of have a little compassion for him. I mean, I think two of them just started, and I don't think that they had any kind of training on what to do on their, about their training officer. Like, how do you turn in your training officer? How do you stop them from committing murder? Basically, that's what happened. How do you stop your training officer on literally the first day from murdering someone while on the beat?
I think it takes having a moral conscience, period. That I can't watch somebody die or watch somebody get wrongfully pressed up, period. I just can't. It's if I'm empowered to do something, then I'm going to do something. The people that watched on, I give them so much credit because many of them knew if they intervened, they probably would have been killed. So they just bellowed on from afar to tell them to stop and stop. Even in the screams and seeing that these people were videotaping, they boldly kept doing what they were doing. The officer that was standing there telling everybody, get back.
Right.
It's like, get back from what?
Mm-hmm.
Get back from what? It's not like there's a fight. It's you literally crucifying a person. You playing
Right.
judge, jury, and executioner all in the same breath. And their responsibility is to enforce the law, not to interpret it, not to judge it, not to execute, not to discipline. That's not their job. So, when they all are responsible for that. Chauvin is the most responsible, but the accomplices are right there. They got to bear that guilt. Now, the police culture overall has to be clear in what people should do, because to date nobody has come out and told me what should those officers have done per the book of law enforcement. I'm saying per the book of a person. I don't care what's going on. I'm not gonna let somebody die if I'm on that job wherever I'm at. I'm not doing it. I don't care what, if it looks bad or not. I'm gonna take that hit to save a life, even if it's gonna put my career in jeopardy. I just can't do that. And those people, seeing what they've seen in life and maybe not being knowledgeable enough, they're going to have to bear that. And it needs to be an example set across the nation that this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. Now, should the department come out and tell people that that's unacceptable? I think they have in Minneapolis. I think the officers did. The chief and everybody else came out and said, this is not our practice. This is not our norm. This is not what's supposed to happen. We've heard from law enforcement heads all across the nation, including the sheriff of Orange County even came out and said, that's dead wrong. That's not supposed to happen. Right. So if everybody's come out and said it's dead wrong and it's not supposed to happen, which, is seldom we can count 1 in a million times that that's happened anyway. So, they deserve to be prosecuted. It is tough on them. They were new, they were getting trained. But think about this. How many people are getting trained by officers like Chauvin all over the nation, all over in places? You got another case right now in Minnesota where it's looking questionable. There's a case in Louisiana where a man was beaten within inches of his life and has lost his vision, and it took a while to get it brought to the forefront. He wasn't even beaten by law enforcement. It came to find out it was tried to be covered up because the guys that attacked him were related to a former sheriff, and the sheriff in charge of that county, a small county in Louisiana, is trying to sweep it under the rug, saying, I guess I didn't have enough evidence, and so we find these areas where we know they're corrupt and rogue people letting bad stuff happen. I think that the series was on TV, Women Are the Movement, that was covering the tragic murder of Emmett Till. And you see in there where the sheriff investigating has the audacity to say, I can't even confirm it was him, after literally knowing it was him and that it was him missing. So that happened in 1955, right? This happens 67 years ago now.
Still happening, yeah.
Same, yeah. Different day, the same agenda. If we try to bury this stuff, it'll go away. We'll keep picking at them. Nobody will find out. Right now, we have technology that's capturing these things. We have people that are showing that they have a moral conscience. We have cases that are falling apart by it. Ahmaud Arbery case, Ahmaud Arbery case, if it weren't for the camera, they probably would have got away with it. The law was trying to let them get away with it. So they need to be held accountable. People need to know this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable.
So now, what do you think? What changes? What do you think any changes should be made? Like, for example, do you think if both of the officers, the other officers, or the other three of the officers would have came together and spoke out against him right there on the scene and say, hey, we got him in handcuffs, so, back off, get off his neck. Won't we just put him in the car and take him downtown?
So it's an interesting thing. I think that makes a huge difference. I think they do that, and that officer gets pissed off, and that officer even reprimands them, and the department reprimands them, and they say
but if all three of them spoke up,
I think they still would. I do. I think they still would. I think that's part of the fear of the culture of speaking up, and it may not even just be in law enforcement. It's hard for people to speak up against their superiors when they know they've done wrong. And they're worried about everything from retaliation, from potential being fired and things of the sort. And they've heard about things like this occurring. So there are people that don't want to chance it. It should not be a conversation that, hey, you didn't follow your superior. Especially, with it being on videotape, which to me, they should be videotaping everything. They should have the cameras on at all times. The department should invest in them. We're finding that they're curbing things and they're catching things that have been flaws for years. So I think even with all three of them, they still would get reprimanded. That guy makes up something. Here's the thing: if there was no video of the George Floyd murder, there would be no trial or anything of the sort. They would have said people would have said, yeah, we investigated. We found that they did exactly what they needed to do. That's the only reason, is because it was a camera. So again, that young lady that captured it, she changed the whole course of things. And to be honest, it's like I think it's horrible George Floyd got killed. I think it's terrible. I think it's sad. I pray and think about how his family and friends feel. That's a horrible thing. The thing about it is sometimes there's purpose in innocent death, and the purpose is it served for a worldwide awakening. I mean, worldwide, people got to see, like, wait, this is what the Black community is complaining about. This is what African Americans are complaining about. I thought this stuff was over in the early 1900s. I didn't think anything like this still occurred, and the whole world was outraged. There were protests as far as Australia, New Zealand, Germany. Even China said something like, "Y'all need to get a hold of yourselves," you know.
Okay.
And people are like, "You're talking about human rights," and they're like, "Yeah, y'all got a problem." And it's like, "Yeah, we do got a we've been had a problem," and it's
Mm-hmm.
like after seeing it glaringly, you know that when people want change, that's when they put money up, right? They say you
Right.
need more resources to change stuff. When that started happening, that's when dollars started pouring into places. People know that it's everything's financial at the end of the day. So they're like, oh yeah, man, they need okay, man. Who do we need to give a check to? Who's the group? Is
Exactly.
it the NAACP? Is it the Urban League? Is it Mindset for
But
Success?
I still think that the problem lies in training and recruiting who you hire. You know what I mean? Like they're not doing a good enough job of weeding these people out who have these underlying biases or even um, problems with anger, problems with being in control, having the authority or having the authority being challenged. All of that need to be weeded out. I don't know how they need to do it, but there's experts that know how to weed out and maybe personality test or see how you work under pressure. I mean, but it has to be a way to weed these people out so where they're not officers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. I mean, the evaluation process isn't as deep as you think, is what you're saying. Are they really probing to say, look, do you have these biases? Are do you have gender or race biases? Nobody's going to put and say, yeah, I do. There's not a psychological evaluation that goes in to say this person has a bad temper. Don't put them out here. Because also, there's a risk to it when you sign up to be a law enforcement. You're putting your
Mm-hmm.
life on the line in some instances. I get that, and I respect that aspect of it. My thing where I don't respect is the abuse of power. When you've
Right.
decided that I'm going to discipline this person, that's not what you're there for. You're there to serve and
Exactly.
protect. If somebody's, committed a crime, you get them, you apprehend them, you take them in. You don't get just because you're upset or you're having a bad day or you frown on the person or you feel like, oh yeah, somebody that looked like him may have broken my window because his melanin complexion, but I've been waiting to put my elbow in his head. I've been waiting to shove him around.
Right.
And
Right.
see, that's my thing, is they're taking out stuff. It's like a bully. The bully is really insecure and has been bullied or
Right.
feels bullied to themselves. So they
Mm-hmm.
want to take it out on somebody who's more vulnerable. So I can hide behind this badge and take care of this person and push him
Mm-hmm.
around or her around, and that's horrible. And it's like you're not going to take off that badge and put down that gun and walk to some area and start pushing people around. You're not going to
Right.
push people around who look like these on my banner. Even in them suits, you're going to find yourself in a situation. So don't do that. There's no need for that to try to swell up and let them know this is what law enforcement does. And it's like
I know,
that's
right?
where distrust happens. That's where you have
Mm-hmm.
fall apart. See, we're all part of that community, but you even have cases where we have black men who are police officers who are not in police uniform who've gotten pressed up. I think recently there's a case
Yeah.
where a brother gets pressed up and beat up by officers. They find out he's an officer later. They're not mad at themselves. They're mad at him. Well, I guess he should identify himself. It's like, wait, why are you even doing this though? Why are you
Exactly.
wronging any people? They shouldn't have to
Mm-hmm.
have a badge for you to treat people like a person. It's like show people respect at the end of the day. And that's the problem. There's not enough respect shown. It's like everybody wants to feel like I'm in charge, I'm a superior, and the way I'm gonna do it is to abuse my power. That's nonsense and
Yeah.
that's garbage.
And then another suggestion that I do have for these uh, organizations, such as the Urban League and the NAACP, is that maybe we should start proactively recruiting
That's a
on our end and
well,
start recommending some um, officers. Some people go through training on our end and just push that career in our communities.
Then that's an idea. I think here in Orange County in Orlando, they do try to recruit from the communities. I think what you have is some people just don't want to be a part of law enforcement for various reasons. I think it can be a beneficial career and to serve and protect. It matters who's at the top and the culture that they push down. See, if the
Right.
person at the top allows this stuff to fester for years, decades, eras, generations, then it's a
Mm-hmm.
problem throughout the whole department, and people know who to try stuff with. You know what? It's
Yes.
like in the workplace for when you find men who are predators or harassing women. See, that predator doesn't bother me
Right.
bothering somebody who's a young lady who started at the job. He's picking
Mm-hmm.
on her. I don't know about it because he looks at me and is like, yeah, if this guy finds out, he'll probably punch me through a wall. But I'm gonna pick on this person because they don't know any better, and I'm gonna depend on this person not to even say nothing, and they're just gonna think this is the
Right.
way. So
Right.
that same thing is happening, and it's getting pushed down, and they're just thinking this is the way. But there are other people who are doing the best they can, have performing with integrity and excellence, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not even aware of it. They're not aware of what's going
Exactly.
on, and they're like, "Wait, what? This happened? How did this occur?" And when you find out, it's like, "Hold on," and they're like, "Oh, I wouldn't do anything like that." And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's the multiple faces of people that they display with others, and
Mm-hmm.
so it requires people to dig in, almost like have a consistent internal affairs to evaluate these folks, and you find that stuff out. I remember in Ferguson after the tragic killing of Mike Brown, there was a exposure of people in law enforcement who were part of the Ku Klux Klan, right? Um,
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
yeah, and they got exposed and then got fired. There were people in the community mad talking about I can't believe that they got exposed. And it's like take the who exposed them out the window. The problem is why are they even a part of a hate group? You know, why are there hate
Right.
groups that exist? And if there is a hate group that's existing, put the public listing out so we can know who's a part of them. My thing is if you're gonna be that way, let's be upfront with it. Let's know who's really in these hateful organizations. There's been no public listing of the Ku Klux Klan. There needs to be.
I mean, well, I kind of disagree with that. I was walking with you all the way up until the end.
Okay.
The only thing I disagree with is the list, is because I don't feel we should do what is done to us. We a lot of us get um, put out the information and they go after us for stuff. But I don't feel like we should do that like an eye for an eye. And then when you put out a list, and of course, the death threats is going to come, the harassment, and I don't feel like we should be a community that does that.
Well, let's look at this, right? There is a hate group called the Ku Klux Klan that has existed since like 1865 on American soil, which is beyond me. For over 150 years, there's been a hate group. It shouldn't even be permissible. That's not, that has done everything from lynch people to kill people to threaten people to bomb houses. That is existing still on American soil.
Yeah.
There's no comparison of the Ku Klux Klan to any black group on like the Black Panthers. No way. There's no comparison. That is
Right.
people will try to make that, but that is not
You're
nowhere
right.
near. There
Right.
was an empowerment group to help communities and protect them. They weren't bombing people or anything like that. So
Hmm.
that it's like the fact that the Ku Klux Klan still exists in modern day, terrible. And
Yeah.
let's look at it too. With the Black Panthers empowerment group, you had the full list of them, and they were systematically stamped out. Systematically stamped out. Fred
Exactly.
Hampton murdered at the age of 21, murdered at 4 a.m. with bullets flying inside his apartment. So they were, it was systematically broken down. There's been nothing like that done for the Ku Klux Klan. People don't even speak about it. If I'm correct, 3 years ago, after the tragic killing of Heather, I can't remember her name, last name, but she got gets run over by a car, gets killed in when they had this was up in Virginia, right? Where a young lady gets
I
run
missed that
over.
one.
She gets run over. What is her last name? I can't remember. But yeah, she gets run over by a car. You know, a car plunges into the crowd, hits people, runs her over, kills her. She's out there protesting against these white nationalists, right? You know, she's killed in it. They shouldn't even been out there. When these white nationalists get exposed, they're
Oh
getting
yeah. Okay, I remember now. Yeah, I remember that. He got convicted, right? He just recently got convicted, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and people were saying that, you know, that's the price you pay for protesting liberties. But nobody says that when we have neo-Nazis marching in Orlando, putting up flags, attacking people. No law enforcement, no smoke grenades thrown, no tear gas,
Right.
nothing like that. Nobody ran a car through.
Right.
I believe last year the governor passed legislation here that if you feel threatened and you see a crowd now, you can just run over people or start shooting. Right? He passed legislation that said that. That legislation was drafted after seeing the tragic killing of this woman, saying that he wants it to be okay for that. But when some glaring racists are out here telling you you will not replace us, and out here yelling other slurs that are offensive to all people, they're not condemned, they're not arrested, they're not jailed. They're just out here, man. They're exercising their freedom of speech, man. So it's like if we're gonna be okay with this First Amendment, we got to be okay with this First Amendment across the board. Can't just be selective.
Right, I understand. I agree with that. I was just, I just have a little concern with the list because you know how people are,
But if I dare to say I'm a part of a hate group that burns crosses and has killed people traditionally, you got to take everything to come with that. Like, you have to. You can find out who's in every other group out here. Why can't you find out who's in that?
That's
Why
true.
Are they wearing
the
masks?
Urban League and NAACP, you're right about that. Yeah.
Why are they wearing masks in the first place? Why are you
Yeah,
wearing masks to cover
sheets,
your face?
right?
Yeah, what's the point of wearing a mask if it's all good? Let me know, let me know that you're that person doing this stuff. Instead of, being potentially in classrooms, in your communities patrolling, let me know that you got that bias. It's like it's like don't bear no secrets about taking your stance. If my stance is mindset for success, you're telling everybody that's my stance. Your stance is build black daily, then you're telling people that's your stance. You don't got to keep it in that little bucketed area. So don't tell anybody. But I'm actually with the folks that are causing this nonsense.
Well, I can see your point of view as far as now. I'm still concerned about the harassment and death threats, but I can see your point of view as far as getting promoted, your community, the other fellow white people that who's not prejudiced and may shame you. So I get it. I understand that, and if that's all that's going to occur and not anything bloody, so to speak, then yeah, I understand. I can go with you on that, because if you're trying to put in an application for a job and you're part of a hate group, that's probably something they should know.
That's it. That's what's happening. That's what's been happening. That they don't know, and then they find out later on. Oh yeah, I'm a part of that. Yeah, you know how it is. It's like, no, you're out of here. But to me, if there is a criteria for a job that's going to strike you from being a part of law enforcement and the military, or even being any form of legal officer, because you're a part of that hate group, then that hate group shouldn't even be permitted to exist in the nation. Like, why is it even here?
Right.
Like, I mean, again, I struggle to understand. How can there, in 2022, be neo-Nazis comfortably marching in Orlando, anywhere in the nation, but comfortably out there, looking like, who's going to check me? Who's going to do anything? And that's the problem I have.
I mean, well, here in Orlando, you know they're going to get ignored because the community don't really take any weight. I mean, we don't put any weight on them because we're pretty much empowered here. So we're like, whatever. If you want to go down the street saying whatever, we're still going to be empowered and we're still going to do us. So, but I understand you want enforcement and government to like shut it down. So
I do. Well, it's like you're shutting everything else down. I'm saying it's like, it's either all or none. You're shutting everything else down. You're curbing it. You're monitoring anything else excessively. When you think it's too many people, even though it ain't too many people, you're pushing people away. You're immediately throwing tear gas on people that don't have any weapons, that aren't talking about violence, that aren't insulting people. And I'm not talking about making people feel guilty. If you feel guilty because of what your cousin or your grandparents did, then you got to swallow what they did. But I'm talking about, you're intentionally, saying rhetoric that's offensive to people.
right.
Yeah, that should be curbed. We got, that should be curbed. And if not, it's like, okay, it's either all or none. It can't just be these subjective things. Subjective and only, the only difference that we see is that you have a darker complexion and you're treated worse.
So let me go on to Amir Locke. Did you see that video? I'm about to play it. Because I thought we had gotten over this no-knock warrants with Breonna Taylor. Like, what is going on? I mean, this spirit, this is a real, we're going to have to get back to fasting. And you know what? I had my list for fasting, and that wasn't even the Black community as far as dealing with the police. That wasn't even on my list because I started out my year with finances and other things. So I'm gonna have to go on another fast just for that because this is crazy. That's a strong spirit.
Yeah, no, that's horrible.
Let me play this and then I want your feedback on the other side.
Okay.
Police search for it! Police search for it!
Minneapolis police released a portion of body cam video of the deadly police-involved shooting of 22-year-old Amir Locke. The whole incident is just seconds long, but it ends when police say Locke emerged from under a blanket on a couch holding a gun. That's when an officer opened fire.
It's gut-wrenching. No matter the circumstances, a man, Amir Locke, has lost his life. A family is grieving and has forever been changed, regardless of the circumstances.
The interim police chief says the SWAT team was executing a warrant for the St. Paul Police Department for a homicide investigation. The officers obtained no-knock as well as knock warrants for the locations they were searching. The body cam video shows officers using a key to open the door to the apartment, announcing themselves and entering.
As they got close, you can see, along with an individual emerging from under the blanket, the barrel of a gun, which comes out from the blanket and becomes more fully exposed.
Locke's family has obtained attorney Ben Crump, who says Locke had no criminal record.
He did what any other law-abiding, permitted gun owner would do. Strange people bust in his house, awaken him from his sleep, and he reached for his weapon, which he has a Second Amendment right to defend himself.
The interim chief says Locke was not named in the warrant, and it's unclear if he is connected to the investigation in St. Paul. The St. Paul Police Department has not yet commented, but the initial release of information is not acceptable for some community activists who say they expected more changes to the Minneapolis Police Department after the death of George Floyd.
You all had no business agreeing to carry out a warrant, and now you're claiming that's part of their investigation. You don't know. Well, why the hell did you all sign up to do this in the first place?
The mayor says he is committed to transparency and more information will be forthcoming.
We want to get things right. We want to, excuse me, we want to gather the necessary evidence to make sure that we are not telling you something that is inaccurate now, only to correct it a day later.
Officials say their investigation into the incident continues. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Mara Montalbano.
All right. That was courtesy of Inside Edition. And so what do you think, Russell? Because this mayor, he came in and he got elected right after, I think it was after Brown. Was it?
Yeah.
I think it was after Michael Brown. And I had such hopes for him. I was like, okay, he sounds like he's going to turn it around. Now he sounds the same. Like, dude, what have you been doing? You know, so I'm not understanding this culture in Minneapolis. What is going on after all of these incidents? It seems like they still have the same culture. Keith Ellison is reviewing it. I don't know if they really have a case here because, you know, they're trying to say the officer already, the police department is already putting out video and a still picture of Amir with the gun. So, you know, they're structuring this already. Like, it's his fault. He had the gun.
Yeah. You know, first, my condolences go out to his family and friends, associates. It's a horrible thing, you know, when a young man is killed, period, let alone at the hands of law enforcement. They're dead wrong for that. They did not, clearly did not outlaw no-knock warrants in the state of Minnesota. They did that in Kentucky, which I think that's great, but they should have done it everywhere. Here you hear the officers say this person wasn't even involved in the no-knock, in any warrant of any sort. So they burst in there. They're in multiple form, in SWAT form, busting in. And even it doesn't matter if he had a weapon or not. They were wrong. They were wrong. If he had a weapon, he had a weapon and he's licensed to have. He had his permit, but it's in his own house. You busted in someplace place. You put them in harm's way, and then you kill him, and then you walk away and justify it by saying, you know, I was just doing my job. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be better at doing our job. We have to be better at putting real focus on where we're supposed to go. Did they go to the wrong place? We don't know. Why did it require a no-knock? We don't know. Do they even know? Did they even know the person that they shot and killed? You know, was there really a gun drawn on them, or was a gun there? Like you know what? It's like we don't know so much about this because it just happened recently. But we do know that that man should be alive. He should not. They were wrong for that. They shouldn't just burst in there. That'd be like somebody just bursting in my place right now. Now they're mad I just shot them. It's like, you know, like well, he should have. What should he have done in that situation? What should he have done? It's like he's not gonna lay there. He didn't lay there and let us just kill him. He motioned for a weapon. Did he just motion? Just roll over and say, "What are y'all doing in my place?" So it's horrible, though. It's horrible. It's disturbing. I'm glad that they've gotten this out and they've gotten the representation of Attorney Ben Crump and some other strong attorneys in the state of Minnesota. And I think Minnesota has let it be known that they're serious about upholding the law, and they're not afraid to prosecute rogue officers or officers that make bad, tragic mistakes of the sort. We saw the same with the woman that said she thought she had a taser, but it was really a pistol. She gets prosecuted. We see
Yeah.
Chauvin get
Now,
prosecuted.
see, the justice system, the legal over there is, I mean, they're stepping up. You're right. But
They are.
can they get the government, the politicians and the police department to follow suit? Because the mayor, he put a moratorium, right, on no-knock warrants. So my
Mhm.
thing is, how come you didn't do anything about this before? You're the one that got elected on reform. You know what I mean? On change, making changes. And you didn't do anything until something happened. So now all of a sudden it's a moratorium on no-knock warrants. I'm not
Yeah.
understanding why anything wasn't done before. You guys didn't know that this was a problem?
Yeah.
I'm not understanding.
See, I think what people have to realize is, in the words of Emmett Till's mother, Mamie Till, a problem anywhere affects us everywhere. So as soon as we saw what happened in Kentucky with the tragic murder of Breonna Taylor,
Right.
everybody across the nation should have put a moratorium and
They should
developed
have looked at
legislation
their right. They should have looked
to
at their
end
policies and
to
made
end
some
these no-knock
revisions.
warrants.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I think it's it's terrible what happened, and they don't have to do those no-knock warrants. If I'm tell you what, if I don't know what they're suspecting people of. They're suspecting them of having drugs or weapons. The no knock isn't helping you. If they think they're gonna, by knocking, that somebody's gonna run and throw some stuff out the window or flush it down the toilet, more than likely, if they're really investigating them, then they probably have evidence of this stuff anyway. So they're just coming to get them at this point and find out where they are. It's like if you're trying to bust in and we're gonna bust in and now we're gonna find hard evidence, that's a horrible strategy. That's a horrible strategy. And I've talked with persons who were law enforcement or former law enforcement, who don't want to be identified, obviously, but they've said more than likely you've already built up this case. More than likely you already have a inside person who's seen this stuff, who's seen transactions, who knows what's going on, who have things
Right.
on record. Now we're just busting in to get them and stop them. Period. It shouldn't be that you're busting in there and now I'm busting in and I'm searching for stuff and I'm killing somebody. Oh, dang, I'm in the wrong place. And that's a huge
speaking
problem.
of that, the interim police chief Amelia Huffman, she said during that news conference on Thursday that Amir Locke, he wasn't even named on the warrant. Now this is according to her, and she also said that she wasn't clear how or whether Locke was connected to the actual homicide investigation that they, were doing the warrant for. The whole warrant was because they were investigating this homicide that took place at St. Paul.
Yeah.
And she said that he wasn't even named in the warrant. I'm like, y'all done killed this boy? And he wasn't even on the warrant? Don't tell me that. Really?
Well,
this boy lost his life. Really?
Lost his life. It's sad. It's horrible, and they should be held accountable. They have to be held accountable. And
I mean, these situations are not. You can't just say, "Oh, well, I made a mistake. Sorry." Like you took a life. It's a deadly mistake. Just like what's the lady name with the taser / mistake?
I can't remember her name.
That's a deadly mistake. You shouldn't just get away with that. No.
You can't. It's like there has to be accountability when we lose lives. There has to be. When we stop being accountable for losing lives, we lose true humanity of any sort. And we're not into barbarism, at least not in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we can do better. We can do better. And it's like now what's going to happen, as we know, is the character assassination. They suffered two assassinations, according to the words of Ben Crump in his book that's out, Open Season, where he says there are two. You killed the person, and then after killing them wrongfully, now you got to kill their character to try to validate it. mind you, I don't know anything about this person anyway. They got in there. They didn't know who they shot and killed. They may have been going, I don't know if it was incompetency or what, but now they're going to dig up anything they can and any information about people he's connected to. They're looking through his phone history. They're looking through his social media history. They're going to try to make a case that, oh, he was around some negative people or did something negative.
Yeah, but I got a feeling that this one is a good guy. I don't think they're gonna find too much. In fact, the gun he had was legally owned. Even his mother, I watched his mother last night with Don Lemon, and she was even saying that she was so proud of him because he went to the classes. He got informed on how to handle the weapon and how to properly clean it and everything. And he got his permit. He got it legally because he was. I think she said he was working for DoorDash. He was a driver, DoorDash, and so he just wanted protection. But he got it He went the legal route. So I'm like, I'm watching this and I'm saying, first of all, I noticed that the police is already shaping the narrative. They already trying to shape the public opinion because, yeah, they put the video out. But if you notice, they already, like I said before, they put out a still photo of Amir with a comforter, because he was waking up. They woke him up out of his sleep. And him with the steel gun, with a gun. Just that one still photo, they, put it out to CNN because they wanted to shape the public opinion. Already they're trying to do that. I was like, what? So my thing is, now the local Minnesota gun owners caucus, they actually spoke out and they said, he had a legal means for self-defense.
So the
something
NRA
should be done because he legally was, he had self-defense legally. But my thing is, Russell, where is the NRA on this?
Yeah,
they always back. I mean, I heard such a ruckus over Cal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Here is another legal gun owner.
Yeah,
so
the
in
NRA
this
should be
case,
in
where's
front of
his rights?
You're 1,000% right. The NRA should be in front of it right now. They should be out front. They should be telling everybody, yeah, he legally had his weapon. He did, he could sleep with his weapon if he wants. Somebody burst in his house. He should have unloaded. If he didn't unload, they may be disappointed in that alone. But he had a right to do it. The NRA should be supporting this person in it.
Yeah.
Why they're so quiet, and all other gun holders, responsible gun holders around the nation, should be supporting him. See, they're looking at it through a political lens, unfortunately.
All these
and it's
people,
not about
they
not
was
about
also
politics.
all supportive of Cal. Where y'all at now?
Yeah. See, it's not a red or blue thing. It's a right or wrong thing. And it's about being wrong. It's like that was wrong. And, you can't cover that up. It's wrong. Your show, The Mindset for Success, isn't even a political show. It is a show that's talking about truths in society that we need to talk about. So it's like, you're hitting it on the head. There are other people that are hitting it on the head. Stop trying to, they're trying to cover these folks and these agencies that have been doing wrong historically, because we know that they've oppressed people of color. And it's time to break the oppression. And I get it. I know historically, police were started in the country because they were slave catchers. So that means from the start of the generation in the United States of America, they had been here to capture and put blacks back into bondage, which is now jail, right? That's slavery, the new Jim Crow. But that doesn't have to be the end of the story. They should be here to serve and protect now in the last century. They should be serving, protecting, not oppressing, not killing people and walking away like, yeah, it happens. Like another day on the job. Another day on the job. I ran over a tree branch. I killed somebody with a no-knock warrant. That's how casual that some of them are acting about it.
Wow. Well, Y'all, we got some praying to do. I know I spent all of January talking about the Daniel fast, and we were fasting and praying. We got some praying to do still. Still.
Yes,
So
we do.
let's wrap this up, Russell. Um, since this is Black History Month, whatever you want to say. You know, anyone you admire or any thing you want to concentrate on or what you're doing for Black History Month, you have the floor.
Sure. Well, let me say this. Oftentimes, we're making history and don't even realize it. So, Black history is being shaped every day. Um, I had the privilege of speaking to some youths to kick off the month, and I found that a lot of youths don't even learn about the beginnings of it. And you know, the credit goes to Carter G. Woodson in 1926, and Association for the Study of Negro Life, History, and Appreciation started Black History Week, Negro History Week in 1926, because there was no books, there was nothing taught in the classroom about the accomplishments, acknowledgments, and hard work and sweat equity that Blacks had put into the nation and world. It was never taught. It was never taught. Now we're 100 plus years later. I mean, nearly 100 years later, and persons are trying to strip that out of the classroom under the guise of critical race theory, when it's like, because something's critical about race doesn't even make it a theory if it's a fact. But it's trying to be stripped out. The hard work that he and others put in is trying to be taken away. You know, that work moved into a month in 1976. And so Black History Month hasn't even been around for half a century yet. Not half a century, not the 50-year mark yet. Nonetheless, in Black History Month, I mean, I hope people go out there and take an opportunity to learn and showcase and share with others. As you know, I push the theme of building Black daily, putting economics at the forefront, but then education next. And we could all educate one another. And it shouldn't just be in this month. This should be the anniversary and nexus of it is a month, but it should be a year-long thing. You can learn about Black history. Blacks have contributed to this nation and world. Nobody talks about what company built the White House or the Capitol building or any sort. Nobody talks about that. I'm going to be putting a post up on social media that says, why don't we give a shout out to the slaves that built the Capitol? Because there were no businesses that did it. I mean, who do you think built that stuff?
Because they were too lazy to do it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So those, built by Black slaves. That's who built it. Those were the laborers at the time, the free laborers for persons in bondage. So we're at the point when we should showcase the hard works of people and then respect it. And if you're really going to respect something, you really should be putting the dollars where it counts. I do say, I do preach the gospel of support Black business as much as possible. Quality Black businesses that come to the table. Set up a whole website, buildblackdaily.com, that showcases these businesses. Other groups out there too. And when you support Black businesses, it's not like just saying, well, all you're going to do is put money into Black people's pockets, which if that's your prerogative, you do that. But that helps all local businesses around you. You can go downtown and support some businesses right there on Church Street. You got stuff like District Gastro Bar or Dexter's Chicken. But there are great spots all around there. You have a good Vietnamese spot down there. You have a pizza place there. So studies show that when you support one place in a local area, you support the other places. So everybody can win, and you support based on your interests. So, my target is let's build Black daily as much possible. And we ask ourselves, are we building Black daily? Are we executing with excellence as much as possible? Are we mentoring? Are we taking care of our youth? Are we taking care of our elders? Are we raising our own children?
Amen.
Are we
on that
attending school board members? Are we making sure our children are getting health checkups?
Yeah, and what I was thinking about for Black History Month is our local community and just the everyday average parents, because if it had not been for my parents instilling certain um, values in my life and pushing me towards education, pushing me towards being the best who I can be, it wouldn't be people like myself and others to influence the world that we're in. And especially for the Black community, those parents are critical. Not only that, Black teachers as well are critical because you are shaping the future. And so Black history is very important, but just know that you are creating Black history now. What are we gonna leave behind? What's the legacy we're gonna leave behind? What is the Black history that we're gonna put on this earth? What is our Black history that we're gonna create? So being an awesome parent and being a conscious parent, a parent who is there and speak life into that child and motivate that child, encourage that child. And also, again, the educators, even the doctors and the lawyers, you will be surprised how you affect young Black children. And so Black history, again, is not only in the past, MLK, and I thank God for him, but Black history is also who we are creating in Black history, what legacy we're going to leave, who we're pouring into.
And and just to add to that, when you talk too woke, they just shut you off. They just say, let me just cut you off for a brief second. You're talking too much truth to power. But in that same thing, I think one of the biggest focuses is to continue to push up the hard work and sweat equity of Black women, the great work that Black women do. And there is no progress without Black women in this day and age. There is no progress without Black women. There is no progress without Black women and the hard work and talents and skills that you all bring to the table. And I know you're going to talk about this at some point. We're going to get a Black woman on the Supreme Court. We need a Black woman on that Supreme Court.
I mean, he promised it. He can't backpedal now.
Can't backpedal, and it's high time. We have qualified Black women that are deserving, that have earned it and earned the consideration for it. But Black women have been executing and performing, and it's got to be respected across the board. It has to be respected. It has to be acknowledged. For those that don't want to acknowledge it, well, they need to talk about what the man has did. Oh, you need to shut up. Okay? Get over it. Get over yourself. When people get over the necessity to receive credit and know that the real benefit of things is in showing love to other people, then we're really the progress. Don't worry about who gets the credit. Worry about getting to the same point, getting to that point and keeping the same focus. Putting your pettiness aside for a greater purpose. This Black History
and this
Month.
thing about, and again, this show's not about politics, but my 2 cents. This thing about having a Black woman, and I have different political views personal, and I don't broadcast it, and but it is different. I don't go with everything, but my feeling about that is that America is a melting pot. So our Supreme Court should reflect that. Just like you have the jurors that you want to reflect for your community, the Supreme Court should be diverse, a melting pot, just like America. So I don't understand what is this thing. Well, I know it's political because, they didn't have anything to say about having a Black man, when they put Clarence Thomas on there. So they was all for that. And you didn't hear any rhetoric about, well, he should be judged about his character, the contents of his character and not his skin color. And you're just doing it. I didn't hear y'all say that then. You know what I mean? So now all of a sudden, well, she shouldn't be judged because she's Black. Well, you know what? She's not just because she's Black. He has a whole list of well-qualified women, Black women, okay? So it's not just about the color. It's about diversity, but an educated diversity, okay? So like you said, get over it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like people work for it. They have a resume. They have they have to me the educational pedigree. They have experience. If you're going to say because they haven't come from this family or gone to this school, or they haven't, they don't come from a generational wealth, because we know in our communities that, to be honest, most blacks are only 1 to 2 generations away from poverty. And I'm not talking about homelessness. I'm talking about the real life working poor who work every day, and, they don't have as much to pass down. People are still suffering from generational crashes from the 1920s, when a lot of the Black economic establishments in the nation were burned to the ground. Definitely culminating with Tulsa and Black Wall Street being burned to the ground. So no life insurance policies, no inheritance or things like that. If you're gonna, don't try to cast people down because of where they come from. Look at what they're presenting in front of you. We got a lot of brilliant, beautiful, bright Black women who are deserving of being on the Supreme Court. So more power to the sisters out there. Look forward to, by the end of the year, when the other justice steps down, to, qualified Black woman being on that Supreme Court. Representation matters.
Okay. All right. And just remember, you guys, this political thing is getting too hot. It's just really way overblown. That's part of the reason why I just pull way back. Not only that, but I have a calling on my life. I ain't got time to be playing with y'all. So, but just remember, God has the last say. Okay, I don't care what kind of politics, they try to make it political, but God has the last say. So, having said that, let me close this out. You're finished, Russell. You got one more thing to say? I just want to make sure.
Let's just keep the mindset for success. Enjoy Ebony Excellence Month. You can check me out at Bill Black Daily, at Russell Drake. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and/or I may set up a TikTok by the end of the month if I can figure that out. I'm a little old, but I may be able to set that up. And one love to the top. My mantra: I will not stop, and this show will not stop. Please continue to tune in to the Mindset for Success. Share it. Encourage other people to view it. And, we need to keep getting Temia Brinson more exposure for the great journalistic work that she continues to do in our communities and the nation.
All right. And so that's the end of the show, you guys. Until next week, check us out again next week, same time, 10 o'clock a.m. on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. So until next week, you guys be blessed.
You have the mindset for success. If you're looking for positivity,